The day earth was changed forever. Genesis chapter 8, God changed the world, changed the earth forevermore. Today I'm going to show you 6 things the Lord changed after the great flood in the time of Noah and provide you with 2 application takeaways as to ponder and apply to your life as timeless principles that will change your life here forward. Greetings, everybody. My name is Stevie Garofalo. This is Reason for Truth, where the truth comes first. The reasons come last, but we're always and constantly learning, because when we stop learning, we stop teaching, or at least stop teaching well. If you don't know, your first time here, Reason for Truth, we're the channel and organization that helps you, both Christian and non-Christian, to cut through the fog of culture's distorted truth, because in our relative world, the truth doesn't change, but the human will to distort it certainly does. We cut through the distortion of current events with the truth as an antidote to the false messages that are so pervasive in our world today. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button and knock out that alert bell. Bam, down there. Then you want to check out some online training at equippedacademy.com. Don't want to miss that, equippedacademy.com. Listen, I'll put a link of that below. After the great flood in Genesis chapter 8 and verse 17, the earth was radically affected by the flood. And I want to encourage you to read Genesis chapter 8 and ponder the following points. First, after the flood, God's new earth confronted Noah with a more hostile environment. It wasn't quite the same as when he got into the ark. The earth itself, the animals, the creatures, the land was much more inhospitable, more hostile. Second, the longevity of life as man knew it, as we hit and just addressed in another episode, was shortened. Therefore, it was a gradual change, but it went down to no more than 120 years. Third, habitual lands throughout the world were reduced. See the expansion of the oceans, right? That's number 4. Oceans were made more extensive. Fifth, the crust of the earth was changed as well, in that it was made unstable and subject to seismic activity. We call that today earthquakes. Sixth and last, in the end, after the flood, the land was laid barren. These are all important facts. In application, I believe there are 2 major takeaways God provides us in living in the 21st century. I just gave you these 6 points, but so what? The first takeaway in all of this is found in Genesis 8:21, in that Noah, as a first priority, got out, built an altar, gave sacrifice to God. And what happened? The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, literally meaning the smell of satisfaction. God was pleased with Noah's offering, and he blessed him and his family there forward. In verse 20, the mention of an altar is the first mention of sacrifice, of worship, in the days since the days of Cain and Abel, back in chapter 4, verses 3 to 5. We can assume that the principle of sacrificial worship was carried through the line of the faithful people, chapter 5, in joyful magnitude devotion to the Lord. Noah's sacrifice of animals and birds from all the clean animals and birds that he had put on the ark, that's where he chose that sacrificial animal from, or animals, chapter 7, verse 2. And the verse 21, the Bible tells us it was a soothing aroma. In other words, the Lord received Noah's offerings as an act of devotion to him. Numbers 15:3 calls for this, just that. Just making a sacrifice out of automation is not pleasing to God. He doesn't care for that. He wants it from the heart. You and I want to make sure that we don't take, not to make our life a mechanical exercise of devotion to God, out of anything other than that. Okay, out of true faith. For you and I today, and that's an application, but for you and I today, we need to make sure that we're giving God the first fruits of our lives. It's actually easy to give him our money. I think so. It's easy to stroke a check. I think for those who have money, what's harder is to commit our daily prayer life, our study, and accountability with other godly men and women. Also, despite how busy we may be, we should all be in some form of ministry, meaning pouring out and serving others. This can be teaching a Sunday school class, serving at the homeless shelter, helping widows fix their cars, or maybe an elderly person maintain or repair their home. It could be a lot of things, right? There are more needs than there are people to serve. The question is, what are you doing to serve the Lord as a sacrifice, a pleasing aroma of your time in the name of Jesus Christ? To feed the poor is very nice. To feed the poor in the name of Jesus Christ, that carries eternal weight, okay? And so is your sacrifice pleasing to the Lord, or is it wanting like Cain? The second takeaway is found in Genesis 8:22, where God established what we take for granted today, which is the 4 seasons. Why? To make nature more predictable for mankind here and there forward. Farmers, let's think about it. Dependability is important. Farmers depend on predictability to some degree for the seasons. They know what to plant in the spring, when to harvest in the fall, what to do in the winter. And you know what they do? They pray. They pray to God because they know God provides the rain. That's why you see more Christianity stronger in the rural. That's the farms and the countryside than it is in the cities. We tend to take credit. Oh, look at what all this great stuff man's made. The Tower of Babel rebuilt all over. Then you have different seasons in different parts of the world, even in Africa and the desert. And you have the animals know when it's wet season. They go down and drink and clean. And what happens is when it starts to dry up, they follow the water source and they move and they become transient. See this all around the world. All right. They go to lower ground. We see the big tsunami that happened some years ago. It killed over 200,000 people. The animals left before the people did. The animals knew something was coming. So listen, the seasons, God's created order. It gives us a change from the monotony of everyday living. What makes the spring so nice is the exit of the winter. What makes the fall so nice is the exit of the hot summer. Weather, right? Temperatures. God did not provide us a boring world, folks, but a rather exciting place with change constantly. Finally, humans like predictability, by the way. We want to know what's going to happen, at what time, at what day, on what week, and that's why everyone uses their calendar, whether it's online and or on paper. Schedules, we follow schedules, we have lists, and now we even have smartphones, smart houses. I think smart houses are rather dumb, but that's my opinion to some degree. Some things are good automated, but have your lights come on at this time, and I guess your toilet flushes at another time, whatever it is. Your locks turn on and off, and pretty soon, I guess anybody who hacks into that thing can control your entire life. That's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother podcast. But listen, we don't want to live in a non-groundhog day, but we don't want to live in a groundhog day. We like predictability, but we also like to live in a non-predictable world. We live in an unstable world. Why? Because humans like and thrive and depend on some level of predictability in the world. But we're filled with so many other unpredictable things. And so that's the human nature. Human nature likes predictability. We want to know what's going on. We want to know who our friends are. By the same token, we like to meet new people. It's exciting to see what life is like, new lands, new countries, new things. But we also like predictability. We like both. When we're into predictable, we want a little something unpredictable. Where in the unpredictable too long becomes unhealthy. That's what you see in marriage infidelity, which we just covered in another episode again. In Genesis chapter 8, God changed the world, the earth forever. After the flood, God's new earth confronted Noah with a more hostile environment, folks. And the longevity of life as man we knew it was shortened therefore to no more than 120 years. That's number 2. Third, habitable lands throughout the world were reduced. We had more ocean, which is number 4. It became more expansive. And 5th, the crust of the earth was changed. We ended up getting some earthquakes, and that wasn't the case back in the day. 6th and last, in the end, after the flood, the land was made barren. But what happened in the end? Well, Noah got out, and what is the first thing he did? Created an altar, and he made a sacrifice. That's our takeaway for today. Are you giving God a sacrifice of your life, of yourself, of your time, of your heart? And lastly, with the use of your resources, are you seeing the value of the 4 seasons? You taking that for granted? Move to Florida. See, there's 2 seasons, hot and warm. Right? Predictable. Do you see all this in God's structure as predictable? God's order in this world as stabilizers for your life in an unpredictable world. Think about that. Pray to God. Ask God to show you how to change your life for the better based on your day-to-day interactions with Him and others. Asking God to show you how to change your life for the better based on the day God, changed the earth, the world, forever. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Join my community, StevieGarofalo.com. Don't put it off any longer. It's free. Just get on it. And if you want some online training, I always say EquippedAcademy.com. God's blessings to you. We'll see you at the next episode. I'm your host, Stevie Garofalo, and this is your Reason for Truth for today.